Hi, this is Tamara from mooglyblog.com, and in this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how to make the Harvest Bandana Cowl. This is a free pattern that you'll find on mooglyblog.com. Please go to the link in the description. There you will find both right and left-handed video tutorials, as well as a link out to the written pattern and all the supplies you need. For this pattern, you'll need one ball of Red Heart Colorscape. This one happens to be the Acapulco colorway. There we are, right there. And it's got these beautiful autumn colors. You will also need a USN hook or a 9mm. This one is a Furls Streamline. Let me set these aside and we can take a look at the finished cowl. This cowl measures about 17 inches across this way, laid flat, and it's about 17 inches long at its maximum right down here at the point. Couldn't quite get the camera to pull out far enough to show the whole thing at once, but this gives you a good idea. Now if I turn it over so we can look at the back, you can see we started at this point and worked our way up, sort of like a regular shawl, but then we join and work around a couple rows for the top there, and then add an edging around the bottom edge. So it's like a cowl in that you can just throw it right on over your head, no shawl pins or buttons or anything needed, but it has the look of a bandana or one of those backwards worn shawls that are so popular right now. You may also recognize the stitch pattern used here. This is the corner to corner stitch. Like I said, we actually start here at the corner and work our way up. So our little stitch pattern here, the corner to corner stitch, is worked in blocks. So the first row is 1 block, the second row is 2 blocks, the third row is 3 blocks. And you'll also note, if you are familiar with that stitch, that I've done something a little different with it. If you've made any of my other Fortunes series of patterns, you may be familiar with it. But you can see I've got my standard blocks here, standard corner to corner blocks made with 3 double crochets. Coming back the other way, it's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, worked into that chain 3 space. So it creates just a little bit lacier look on the even numbered rows. So let's go ahead and work a few rows of this pattern together. All right, the Harvest Bandana Cowl starts pretty much like any corner to corner pattern. I've got my slip knot on my hook, and I'm going to start with a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then I am going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. I like to work into the back hump, but you can work into the part that's best for you. 1, 2, 3, skipped, go to that 4th chain and make a double crochet. Then I'm going to double crochet in each of the last 2 chains. So there were 2 chains left, so I make 2 more double crochets. 1 in each chain. There we are. And with that, we have finished row 1. That's all there is to it. This is considered a block. This is the block unit for this pattern. This would be a solid block where we've got 3 double crochets across. Now we're going to start row 2, where we're going to be making our lace blocks. It's going to start exactly the same. We're going to start with a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. Just like that. Then we're going to chain 1, skip the next chain right there, and then in the chain after that, which does like to hide, there it is, that chain right after that, that's where we work our next double crochet. So this is a lace block because we've got a chain 1 and we don't work that center double crochet of our set of 3. So from here, what we need to do is look at that row 1 block and find that chain 3. Remember, we skipped those 3 chains. There we are. We skipped those 3 chains when we double crocheted into the 4th. That's where we're going to stick our hook and make a slip stitch. After that, we chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet right back into that chain 3 space. So we double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet right in that chain 3 space again. And that is the end of row 2. So if I pull that hook out here so we can take a look at it, try and get this yarn out of the way. There we go. All right, so these, like I said, these are our lace blocks, and you can see here's one and here's two. So one of the fun things about corner to corner patterns while you're doing your increases like this is that you can always tell what row you're on by counting the number of blocks. For row 1, we had 1 block. For row 2, we've got 2 blocks. So if coming back for row 3, we'll have 3 blocks, and so on. So let's go ahead and make row 3 together. Now again, row 3 is going to be an odd numbered row, so it's going to have the solid blocks, but it's going to start the same way. We chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then come back to that 4th chain from the hook with a double crochet. And then because this is our solid row, we do another double crochet in the next one. And then another double crochet in that last remaining chain. And then we need to find that chain 3 space from the first or the last block we made in the previous row. So that's right here. We put our hook right in there for a slip stitch. And then we work back across, probably guessing what we're going to do now. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we make 3 double crochets right in this chain 3 space. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And then we find the chain 3 space of the second block we made in the previous row. Like so, slip stitch in there, chain 3 again, and make 3 more double crochets right in that chain 3 space. So 1, 2, and 3. There we go. And that is the end of row 3. So again, that's an odd numbered row. So we've got our solid blocks with 3 double crochets. So we've got 1 block here, 2nd block here, 3rd block here. From there, we're ready for another even numbered row, which is going to be our lace blocks again, going back the other direction. And since it's our 4th row, we will have 4 blocks. So let's go ahead and make this one more row together. We're going to start with a chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Double crochet in that 4th chain from the hook. Then chain 1, skip the next chain, double crochet in the chain after that. And that's the end of our first block, so it's time to slip stitch into the chain 3 space of the next block of the previous row. Right there. Oops. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Work 3 double crochets back into that chain, or excuse me, in that chain 3 space, we'll have a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, because this is our lace block. There we go. So since we're just working into the chain 3 space here, we don't actually have to skip a stitch. We just double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into that chain 3 space. Then we find that next chain 3 space of the next block, so we can slip stitch in there. Chain 3 again, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet back in that chain 3 space. We've got 1 more to go, so let's find that last chain 3 space there on that last block of the previous row. Slip stitch in there, chain 3. Oops, there we go. And then double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet back in that chain 3 space. And that's the end of row 4. So you can see, hopefully, at this point, how the pattern builds. 1 block in row 1, 2 blocks in row 2, 3 blocks in row 3. Here's our row 4. We've got 1 block here, 2, 3, and 4. You can almost count those little peaks of the little blocks there as you work across. So that's how our pattern is going to keep growing. Solid rows with 3 double crochets on the odd numbered rows, and the lace blocks with the chain 1 in the even numbered rows. And we would just keep building up like that. You can see we're creating our shawl shape. We just keep building up like that for 18 rows. So after 18 rows, and of course 18 is an even number, so you'll end with a lace block row. You should have 18 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, you would be able to count 18 blocks across. So just keep doing that, and I will meet you back here and we'll make round 19 together. Okay, so I've added just a couple more rows. As you can see, this isn't 18, but it is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 rows, 6 blocks. You should have 18 rows, or excuse me, 18 blocks or 18 rows for your own cowl. That said, if you wanted it a little bigger or smaller, you can absolutely adjust that. It's very simple. Just add more rows or omit some rows, whichever you prefer. Just do try to end on an even numbered row so you've got these lace blocks to work into. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin round 19 together. Now you can see, like I said, I'm pretending I finished round 18, but at the end of round 18, we don't turn to work back the other direction like we've been doing. Instead, what we want to do, there we go. I think I need some lotion. The yarn keeps sticking to my hands. All right, so what we want to do is pull up the other end of the cowl, so the other point directly across. And we want to bring it together without twisting. We don't want to put a twist in there. That would be some crazy concoction we don't want. So just bring it straight around. And then you want to join with a slip stitch to that first chain 3 space. So you can see right here at the other end of the previous row, there's that chain 3. This time we're coming at it from this direction. So I'm going to put my hook in there and yarn over to make my slip stitch. And now they are joined for a tiny little mini cowl, like so. Then we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then double crochet, half double crochet, and single crochet all in that same chain 3 space. So we start with a double crochet, then a half double crochet, and then a single crochet. After that, we half double crochet in the next chain 1 space, which is right here. Remember, we are working into a lace block row, so we've got that chain 1 space ready right there. Then we can come over here to this next block and double crochet, half double crochet, and single crochet in that chain 3 space. Like so. Then we find that next chain 1 space waiting right there, half double crochet in there. And then we're ready for another chain 3 space. Double crochet, half double crochet, and single crochet. Another half double crochet in that chain 1 space. And then we're back at this chain 3 space. So that's the basic repeat. We're going to work that all the way around. And if you've got 18 blocks, of course, that means you'll do 18 repeats of this total. So I'm just working my way around. And the reason for all these different height stitches is, if you come back and look here, you can see this is creating a nice, relatively straight, even line around the top of our cowl. So I'm almost around here on my tiny little cowl. So I will see you when you get to the end of round 19. Okay, so at the end of round 19, you should end with a half double crochet in the chain 1 space of that last block, or rather the last block you made in the previous round before we joined there. So we're back here at our join space, and I want to find that first double crochet I made and put my hook in there and just join right to that first double crochet, like so. And that's the end of round 19. Round 20, very, very simple, just a nice little edging. Chain 1 and then single crochet in each stitch around. Then we'll just join our yarn here and break it, and then we'll be ready to add our decorative edging to the bottom portion of our cowl here, this whole bottom opening. So that's where we'll be making the twisted single crochet, which I'll demo for you here in just a moment. Okay, so here you can see I have finished off round 19. Or excuse me, round 20 and round 19, of course, but round 20 is finished here as well. And I've just joined and broken my yarn, and I would weave this in, of course, at the end. But this just gives us a really nice row of single crochet right around the top. So now we're ready to add just 2 more rounds here that will be working around the bottom of the cowl to give this bottom edge a nice finished look. So what I'm going to do is flip it over here and, of course, hold it this way since I'm, this is up and that's down. I've got to turn it around so that I can work in the right direction. And I'm just going to come back here right about to where it joined. And you don't have to join to any particular part here, just somewhere in the back is what I like to do, because then it hides all those joints and seams at the back of the neck. So I'm going to take my end of yarn here, and I am just going to go ahead and join with a single crochet to the back of the cowl right by the join. Now, joining with a single crochet just means starting with the slip knot on your hook, and then you go into the stitch and make a single crochet as you normally would. If you don't like doing that, you could join with a slip stitch, chain 1, and make a normal single crochet. It's up to you, whatever you like to do. Basically, we're just going to work evenly all the way across the bottom edge of the cowl here. So this seems like a good place to join. I've got a little space here, so I'll go ahead and put my hook there, make my single crochet, and then just work my way evenly around. However you like to space your stitches for this round is up to you. Some people like to work into the stitches that are along the sides themselves. Some people like to work all the way around them. It is totally up to you. You don't need a particular stitch count for right here. Again, it's however it looks nice to you. So you can play with that, use your own method. I do have a video on working into the edge of patterns on the Moogly YouTube channel if you want to refer to that. But if you've made a blanket before or worked into an edging before, it's basically the same. Just take it as it comes. Try and remain consistent. So like see here, I've got a block where along the edge here, I've got the bottom of these stitches hanging out. So I'm just working right into the other half of that foundation chain. When I come over here, I've got some space. Maybe I could work around it. If I wanted to, I could go through the stitch. Again, this is just personal preference. Whichever method tends to work best for you. When you get down here, though, to the point of your cowl, which I am already about at since I'm making just this little tiny doll-sized version, right here where you've got that very first slip stitch you made when you've started your whole cowl project, that's the point of the cowl. So right there, we want to work a single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet right back into that chain. And that will give us, it will maintain, I should say, the nice point to our cowl, and it will also give us the turn to come and work along this side. So I'm just going to continue working evenly along the edge of my cowl here until I get back to where I began, and then I'll join with a slip stitch, and I will demonstrate how I made the bottom edging round 2. Okay, so I've just joined with a slip stitch for my bottom edging round 1. You can see I've just worked evenly all the way around. Again, stitch count here does not matter. However it looks good, that's good. Now we're ready to begin bottom edging round 2. We're going to start again with a chain 1, and then we're going to make a twisted single crochet in each stitch around until we get down to the point which we'll treat just a little bit differently. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, I do have a separate tutorial for this stitch on the Moogly Blog YouTube channel, so you can go to the link in the description to go to that tutorial or search for it in YouTube if you need to, but I'm also going to demo it right here. Like I said, I've chained 1 for my turning chain, and I'm going to go in that first stitch or the next stitch, whichever stitch you're supposed to go into, in this case the first one, yarn over and pull up my loop just as I normally would for a single crochet. Now I'm going to pull this loop up just a little bit higher. I want a little bit more wiggle room because at this point I'm going to spin my hook. There, just like so. Came right back where I began. Then I yarn over, and that's when I pull through to finish the stitch. So it creates a twist in there, and the first couple of these will look a little messy, but as we go, we'll give it a little tug and it'll all straighten out. So bear with me. Let's begin the next one. We're going to go right to that next stitch, insert our hook, pull up a loop, pull it up high again a little bit. We need that little extra wiggle room here. Then spin the hook, yarn over, and pull through 2. Go to the next one, insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull it up nice and high, spin it, yarn over, and pull through 2. What this maneuver does is it creates a stitch that looks a lot like the reverse single crochet or the crab stitch, but it's a lot easier to do for most people. If you don't like this particular move, but you want the look, you can use the reverse single crochet or the crab stitch instead. Absolutely. And again, there are video tutorials for that on the Moogly YouTube channel. It's totally up to you. Let's make just a couple more of these together. Insert the hook, pull up the loop nice and high, spin, yarn over, and pull through. One more, insert the hook, pull up a loop nice and high, spin, yarn over, and pull through. So you can see once you get used to this, it really does go pretty quickly. And if I give those little first few stitches a tug, they sort of seem to settle into place. And you can see we've got that great reverse single crochet or crab stitch look, but that much easier to make. So basically, I will just continue this all the way around. Like I said, we do have to treat it a little differently at the point of the shawl. right there in front. So I'm going to make a few more and I will meet you when we get to that point. Literally. Okay, so you can see here I have worked down one side of my cowl, and here I am at that point where we've got that chain 2 that we made in the previous bottom edging round. So now that we're at that point, we're going to go right into that chain 2 space and make a twisted single crochet, just like we've been doing. Then we chain 2 again, 1, 2, and then go right back in that chain 2 space for another twisted single crochet, just like so. And then we're ready to start working right up the other side. And of course, we would go right back to where we started, join and break, and done. That will be the end of our harvest bandana cowl. There, I wanted to make just a few more so you can see that little chain 2 keeps that really nice point to our shawl. You can of course play with that if you wanted to add something different. I think this would be a really beautiful pattern to add some beads to, or of course use the other beautiful colors of Red Heart Colorscape. There are so many beautiful things and different looks you can get with this yarn and this pattern. So if I pull out the original here, you can see how really beautifully it worked. And I mean, I couldn't have planned the color changes better as the cowl goes on. It's just the corner to corner stitch is really pretty in this yarn. So I hope you'll give the Harvest Bandana cowl pattern a try, as well as Red Heart Colorscape. And I hope you enjoyed this video and that it helps you make your own cowl. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. And if you did like this video, give it a like and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks so much again for watching, and happy yarning.